My grandma's elevator is the perfect example of a liminal space. It separates two floors, effectively acting as a portal between the past and the present. In the basement lies relics, memories, in the past that is seldom touched by the present. My grandma as a baby, my grandpa as a child, them meeting, marrying, my parents marrying, my great-grandparents' 50th, and old dusty toys abandoned long before my time. Upstairs is me, my brother, and the present. See, none of it's gone away. It's still there, just hidden in the depths of a basement. A basement that needs a connection, and that is my grandmother's elevator. You've been here before. The cream walls, the freshly vacuumed carpet, the wooden railing, the doorways leading to the half-heartedly filled storage rooms. You've spent hours, days even of your life playing with blocks and toys on this carpet until you grew too big to play. You've never been here, but there's a very high chance you feel like you've been here. This is a liminal space, and as much as it's familiar, it is as equally mysterious and eerie. The word liminal comes from the Latin word limen, which means threshold. To be in a liminal space means to be on the precipice of something new, but not quite there yet. In other words, it's a place of transition. In the case of my grandmother's elevator, it serves as a transition point between the two floors, an everyday floor and a dusty storage room. It is also symbolic of a place of transition between the past and the present. Liminal spaces often carry a liminal aesthetic. They're often empty, a mall at 4 a.m. or a school hallway during summer. This makes it feel frozen and often unsettling, but also familiar to our minds. Liminal spaces often contain vanilla objects that our eyes have graced thousands of times, like doorways, cream walls, or stairwells. That's what makes it feel familiar, yet the uncertainty of what's behind the doorway or at the end of the stairwell can be unsettling. Liminal spaces are all around us. They're implanted in what we watch, the spaces we walk in, and the literature we read. They are an essential storytelling device that play a vital role in setting a scene and hacking a viewer's nervous system without them even noticing. Don't believe me? I'll show you. Christopher Nolan's 2010 film Inception is a masterclass in the use of liminal spaces in film. The most obvious liminal space in Inception is limbo. Limbo being a shared space that is not dreamt by any one individual. In other words, limbo is not a dream or real life, but rather an in-between. The location also embodies the liminal aesthetic of feeling eerie, barren, and uncanny. So, Inception uses liminal spaces. But why does it matter? Well, the use of liminal spaces builds Inception's tension. The viewer is put on edge by the locations and set design themselves. Inception takes place in 5 levels of reality. Reality itself, a van chase dream, a hotel dream, a snow fortress dream, And finally, limbo. Nearly every level is built around a liminal space. For starters, Cobb and the team enter Dream 1 while on a plane, a liminal space that lacks exact location, but rather serves as a vehicle between two places. Level 2 predominantly takes place in a van, another liminal space of transition. Level 3 takes place in an unfittingly empty hotel. Much of our time is spent in the long hallways, fearful for what is at the end. Finally, there's limbo, the ultimate liminal space. However, it doesn't end there. The elevator in Cobb's mind that cycles through his memories is a liminal space, and not dissimilar to my grandma's elevator, acts as a place of transition between the past and the present. Still, it goes deeper. Inception revolves around a large maze metaphor. Each character is navigating a large neurological maze in a race to get to the end. A maze is also a liminal space, a place of transition between its beginning and end. In turn, each liminal space mentioned takes place in one huge neurological maze, creating a recursive line of liminal spaces that adds to the tension. It is the repeated use of liminal spaces that builds the tension for the viewer. Each liminal space makes us more and more uncomfortable and on edge. After a while, the viewer wants that experience and uncertainty to end, and for the tension to break, in turn making the resolution more satisfying. An application of this can be seen in the movie The Walk.
1 foot on the wire, and the outside world starts to disappear.
It's the climax of the movie. Daredevil Philippe Petit is trying to successfully tightrope walk across the Twin Towers. He's about to traverse the epitome of liminal spaces, a thin line acting as a place of transition between the most famous towers in the world. The time spent on the rope is between success and failure, life and death. Philippe will be successful, but the viewer doesn't know that yet. The tension is palpable, but the relief is even greater. The liminal space not only built the tension, but enhanced the relief.
He should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow. And tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to the last syllable of recorded time.
You don't have to just
And all
look
our
at
yesterdays
2010's
is like
thrillers
fools
to
awaiting
find
us in
liminal
the
spaces. You can even find it in Shakespeare.
Out we've got.
William Shakespeare's 1623 play Macbeth does a fantastic job in harnessing the power of liminal spaces. To begin, the witches that hand Macbeth his prophecy do so in between Duncan's castle and the battlefield. Moreover, it is unclear whether the witches are real or not, In that way, they can be interpreted as neither real or fake, but rather an in-between, which is that inhabit a threshold between human life and the otherworldly. Macbeth himself lives in a place of liminality throughout the play, conflicted between loyalty and betrayal, uncertain if he should kill Duncan or not. To get really abstract, Macbeth's tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow soliloquy reflects his morbid view that all of life is liminal space, implying everything happens between birth and death, nulled by its destination into what is ultimately nothing. A meditation that suggests Macbeth is, in fact, a nihilist. In the same breath, tomorrow, tomorrow, and tomorrow is also a meta-commentary. Hold on, Shakespeare is using postmodernism in the 1600s? Yes. Anyway, it is also a meta-commentary on theater itself. Macbeth is somewhat strangely connecting the liminality of his life and the play stage itself, stating,
Life is but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Macbeth here is coming to terms with the fact that his life will always be in the confines of a liminal space, on a stage, a transition point between real life and a piece of literature. Lady Macbeth also enters a liminal space when she pleads to the spirits to
unsex me here.
You can argue that she is saying this to be transformed into a man, but I would argue she does not want to be a man, but something far beyond male or female, so that she can carry out the inhumane acts she so desires. There are countless more examples of liminal spaces in Macbeth, many of which are explored in the blog No Shit Shakespeare, which was a great source for some of this analysis, and is great further reading for anyone interested. It is really mind-blowing the tools Shakespeare used in writing from hundreds of years ago. His use of liminal space is immaculate, exceptional, and most importantly, discreet. You know, it's weird because as I'm making this, I have COVID. And I'm in school, but I'm not really in school. I'm zooming into some classes, but not all classes. And it's like a liminal space in between school and home, what I'm experiencing right now for this week. And I'm getting that weird, like, kind of uncanny, like, liminal feeling about this whole thing. And I just thought I'd share that, because it's strange. Liminal spaces are all around us, whether in Macbeth, Inception, The Walk, or real life. There's no escaping them. Ultimately, I'm left from this project feeling rather sad. In many ways, liminal spaces are uncomfortable, lonely, and isolating. We experience not what we know, but rather a void into the unknown. And to me, that is scary. But then, I'm reminded of a quote from author Dr. Wayne Dyer. Fear of the unknown. They are afraid of new ideas. They are loaded with prejudice, not based upon anything in reality.
But based on if something is new, I reject it immediately because it's frightening to me. What they do instead is just stay with the familiar. You know, to me, the most beautiful things in all the universe are the most mysterious.
It is with that perspective that my outlook isn't so cynical. There is a beauty in the unknown, experiencing a change and closing a chapter. Liminal spaces remind us of where we've been, but more importantly, where we're headed. Perhaps that's why my grandparents chose to live upstairs and to keep the past locked in a basement.